How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 24 of the ControllerCast. My name is Ursel, and this week I'm joined by Johnny Wood and Parker Tedrow. How's it going, guys? How's your week been? John, you want to start us off?
Yeah, my week was pretty good, actually. We had a really fun night last night in Benson. Me, Parker, Andrew, and Jake Crampton. If he's listening, shout out, Jake. We watched our Nebraska Cornhuskers unfortunately lose to Michigan State after throwing an interception in overtime. I mean, that's basically the only thing you cannot do is turn the ball over in overtime, and Nebraska found a way to do it. So
right before that play, I literally told John, I was like, this would be the absolute worst time for an interception or like a fumble or something, and then it happened.
Dude, Parker literally called it. And if anyone doesn't know how overtime in college football works, basically, if you turn the ball over, that's game over. Like you lost, because the other team just needs to score a field goal, and they're already in field goal range. So it was dumb.
Why are you guys wasting your time with Nebraska football?
I don't know.
I just laugh at it personally.
I mean, I was born and raised on football and watching Nebraska football, but we've been bad ever since I've been watching it. I mean, we were okay back in and I know a lot of our listeners don't really understand Nebraska football, so I won't get too into the weeds with it, but we used to have a head coach that everyone had a problem with because of his attitude, but we won games, and I didn't have a problem with him, but we got rid of him. And Nebraska football has been downhill since. But I mean, I could talk about Nebraska football all day though, but I won't. Other than that, Casey and I actually finished playing through God of War this week on PS5. I'll save my in-depth thoughts and rating in case we review this game in the future. I think we will. But I do recommend this game to anyone that has a PS4. But especially if you have a PS5, because you get it for free.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was a pretty relaxed week. Did listen to some Whole Lotta Red from Playboy Cardi. I've been getting into my rap phase recently from Donda and CLB and then Montero. And a lot of people have been talking about how Playboy Cardi's he's the next big thing. He's the new Kanye West or something, or the new Lil Wayne, he's going to take rap into the future. It remains to be seen. Obviously, we haven't gotten to the future yet. But I'm actually
we haven't gone to the future.
Yeah, that's how time works.
Yeah, that's
once again.
But I'm actually enjoying it. And I do recommend, if anyone that's listening, and I think that some people listening are rap fans, you got to check out Whole Lotta Red. Let us know what you think on social media. Maybe we'll review it at some point. But that was pretty much it. What about you, Parker? How was your week?
Yeah, so I finally got Super Mario 3D World after year. It originally came out on the Wii U, so this game's fucking old.
2011, 2012.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying that right now, just playing through it. Also doing a replay of Mario Galaxy, kind of getting in my Nintendo phase a little bit. But other than that, just hung out last night at Benson, watched that game. Just typical Nebraska, but otherwise it's really been chilling, just playing my Switch, nothing really crazy. Oh, what about you, Arsel?
Yeah, so kind of a fun little week for me. I know we just last week shat on Apple, but I did in that podcast, I did say I was probably gonna get the new one. So literally day of, I went ahead and just because I think when me and John had that two-band episode, I was just talking about how I like to have the newest things. So obviously, I mean, there's no point in me holding up to the camera because no one's gonna see it. But I did get the iPhone 13 Pro, and I will say this: The 120. Look, I don't really care about any of the upgrades for it, but the 120 hertz screen that they added with the Pro models, which is what I got. I got the 13 Pro. Is actually beautiful. It's actually very, very nice. And I think anyone that gets, like any of the Pro models moving forward, I have no idea if they're going to add it to just the base model of the 14. But if they do, like, and anyone makes that jump, I think you'll definitely notice it, because I definitely do. And I think that's my favorite part about getting this phone. Also, the 128 gigabytes of the base model. That's really, really nice. And I was just joking to these guys earlier this week, now with PlayStation 5, like kind of the standard being 60 FPS, and even some games getting up to 120. And then now, my phone is 120. It's like, I'm a Hertz whore. So like I'm all about that now. I'm a believer of that high refresh rate and all that stuff. And but
Oh, that's such a funny term.
yeah, Hertz whore. But besides that, I don't really. Oh, I played through and I finished Deathloop, which is probably in my running for game of the year as we speak. I would not give it a 10 out of 10 like some reviewers are saying, but 9 out of 10 for sure, definitely. And maybe we'll maybe have a more in-depth talk about that in the future at some point too. But that game's on PS5. It's actually on PC as well. So yeah, really, really interesting game. And I'll just say my thoughts on that for now. But yeah, really, really amazing actually. And really, really unique game, especially as a roguelike. And I liked it more than Hades and Returnal. So but that was my week. So we can probably go ahead and get right into the current events, which really there's only one. It was kind of a slower week, but you know what? But it's still a lot of newsworthy things came out of it, and we're talking about the kind of the out of the blue, really, Nintendo Direct that happened this week. Now, I just want to say, as some of you might have noticed, Sir Ihausen is not on the show this week, but you know what? This episode is dedicated to Andrew Ihausen because Andrew has been holding it down for Nintendo this whole year, while we've been shitting on Nintendo. And this man's been down bad, and I wish he was here because this would have been it. This would have been his moment of celebration. Okay, this is where we this is where we could have let Andrew shine, but he's not here today. So we'll be talking about Nintendo.
We'll try and cover for him.
Yeah. Someone bring that energy for Nintendo out of us.
Yes, Nintendo.
But
finally they did something good.
They did actually do something good for once.
Yeah. And I guess I'll just kind of give my general thoughts real quick. Maybe you guys want to as well. I thought this was funny enough for how random it was, for how unhyped this was compared to their other two directs, right? Their Spring Direct and their E3 one. That had a lot of hype behind them. I thought this was their best one.
By far. Yeah. By far.
Because they announced it.
It was announced literally the Monday before it happened.
Yeah.
Like one day.
And I thought it was like a pretty quality showcase. And I guess you guys feel the same. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was definitely one of their best since, really ever.
Like, you guys gonna watch the Mario movie?
We'll get into that. Well, actually, let's start off there. Why not? Let's start off with the
reverse order.
Yeah. Let's kind of start off with the thing that's kind of been memed on in the news, and that is that at the at this direct, they announced that a Mario movie is coming out holiday 2022. Now, I say let's go through the cast and maybe we can share our thoughts on the casting. So Mario is going to be played by Chris Pratt, who is the main character in like the Jurassic World films. He's obviously Star-Lord in the MCU. I gotta say that's an interesting choice. I have no idea how that's going to play out. And
yeah,
then,
I was wondering,
yeah.
like, is he gonna sound like Mario? Is he gonna sound like Chris Pratt? I don't get it.
Yeah,
It's kind of a weird cat role for Mario, in my opinion.
yeah.
I agree.
And I feel like this is like the one thing is like, so I guess the person who's been voice acting Mario throughout his whole career, I think Charles Martinet, is how you pronounce his name. Uh, he's gonna be in the film too, but he's just gonna be cameo roles. It's like, why not just have him be, you know, to have him just play Mario?
Right?
But obviously, like they probably want like big Hollywood names attached for fucking, advertising sake. Um, and then from there we have Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. She's actually a really, really good actress. And but also, I mean, I guess I can run through the names because these are all like so weird. Charlie Day from I think It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Always Sunny. Yeah.
Yep, the guy who always screams.
Yeah. And then we're getting Jack Black as Bowser, which is crazy.
That's actually, I feel like
that's a good
work.
role.
Yeah.
I feel like that can work.
For sure.
This is also another interesting one. Keegan Michael Key from Key and Peele will play Toad. And then Seth Rogen is going to be Donkey Kong. So yeah, what do you? I mean, I will say this. This is a very meme worthy casting crew or like cast, but
it's an all-star cast.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it's gonna go. I honestly say the only one that I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know how they're gonna perform is probably Chris Pratt as Mario. I feel like everyone else could probably, or maybe even. Actually, I just don't know enough about Charlie Day, but everyone else I feel like could, I could see them voicing those characters. But what do you guys think?
I think the roles are kind of strange. Like Keegan Michael Key as Toad is kind of weird. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong doesn't make any sense. So I'm not.
I don't
quite
know.
Yeah, his laugh.
I don't know.
Yeah. His
I
laugh
just,
and like hitting his chest.
I just hope this all comes together for a decent movie. It's just I kind of have low expectations when it comes to a Mario movie. So I hope that these roles fit. It's just I don't know how quality this can be. The fact that there's high name actors in it is a good sign. That they have a budget for this movie.
It's a high budget, right?
Yeah. So I don't know.
So I think they're expecting, I mean, you can't get all these big names for main roles and not, have a really high budget for the movie. So they're probably expecting it to do really well. I have a feeling they're probably putting a lot of work into this. And the fact that, Nintendo is directly involved, obviously, but the fact that they've got their hands in it sounds like the like creative direction of the film. I think it's got promise. I have a feeling that the actors will probably just like be themselves. Like, I don't think we're going to hear Chris Pratt trying to be Mario. I think it's going to have its own identity in that it is the actors' voices. But Illumination has done a lot of good things. So I have really high hopes for it.
Can you imagine
really
though?
do.
Can you imagine like Mario just sounding like fucking Star-Lord?
I feel like weirdly I can. I don't know. Like, I actually think the casting was really well done. Like, as they were going through the names, I was kind of trying to imagine like their voices as the characters. And I'm like, okay, maybe. And it's probably going to have a personality tailored to those actors in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But also, I will say, announcing its release date this early, I've never really seen that for a movie. Like, I don't think you need to announce a movie a year in advance. I would have liked to see Nintendo wait on this.
Mm-hmm.
Because
like they could have saved it for E3. Maybe next E3 they'll actually show like a trailer. Maybe that's what they're
right. Yeah. But like, it's so far out. I don't know. That kind of worries me. Just a little bit.
I feel like Nintendo just really wanted to drop a bomb like the other day. They really just wanted to make a statement, and this was just a part of it.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get avatared. No, I don't think I don't see that happening. But like,
I don't foresee that happening. I actually think it could be really good. I have really high hopes for it, and I think the casting was like brilliant. The only one I am kind of confused about is Chris Pratt as Mario, but like the
That's
rest
fine.
of it, I think is pretty good. Even Key or whatever. What's his full name?
Keegan
As
Michael
Toad?
Key.
Yeah, Keegan. I think I feel like his voice could fit with Toad.
Same.
I don't know,
agree.
weirdly enough.
I'm very
But
curious to
Chris Pratt,
I'm very curious to see Jack Black as Bowser.
same.
I think he'll do a good job. Actually, I think he'll
I
be
really
like
do
one of the
too.
better, like one of the better actors in that movie.
Like how I'm trying
Speaking
to.
of Jack Black, I mean, School of Rock just hit 18 years old a couple of days ago.
Wonderful
had to
movie,
mention
by
it.
the way.
Great movie.
Yeah, childhood favorite. The
But
what
I
is it?
feel like he could do such a good job as Bowser.
I feel like
Jack
that
Black
role
just
really.
kills every role.
I feel like that's
honestly.
meant for Jack Black. Like that's a role just meant for him.
And I mean, actually, and I think Jack Black out of all of these people has voice acting experience because I like
Kung
like
Fu Panda.
yeah, Kung Fu Panda. He's done voice acting in video games. I know that. So so Jack
Wait,
Black.
he has video games?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
There's this game back in the PS3 days that he was actually the main
What?
character, and it was like about a rocker going through like hell.
What?
It was called Brutal Legend. Yeah,
I wonder if that was any good.
Brutal Legend. Yeah, and the main character looks kind of like Jack Black too. It's kind of funny. I actually think I remember
What?
it getting like decent reviews, like maybe not like Game of the Year, but he has experience voice acting. So, and I
We should
totally forgot
we
he
should
was
watch
in
a Tenacious
Kung Fu
D
Panda.
soon and get some of those old lines hashed out. Cause you fucking dick.
Tenacious
And like
D.
just some of the crazy lines he says. I could just imagine Bowser saying that.
Dude, I keep thinking of Tenacious D as well.
Yeah,
Oh my
just
gosh.
Bowser just the metal.
You fucking dick.
But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I'm trying to do I was like, what's my best Star-Lord impression? Like, just imagining him being like, it's Mario time. Like, I don't even know. Like, I can't even do it.
It's Mario time.
Gamora. I can't. I don't know what he sounds like.
Let's go. It's me,
He
Mario.
just sounds like a normal guy. That's the only way to describe it. He doesn't
Yeah,
really
he's-
have any like dialect or anything.
True. But I mean, we'll keep an eye out on the Mario movie. And I
Yes.
actually, I have hopes for it too, because I feel like we're slowly starting to I feel like the quality of video game adaptations is slowly inching up.
It is.
The Witcher TV show is actually like one of their most popular TV shows, which is crazy. And
it reminds me of like the new Game of Thrones almost.
Yeah. And then like the Pokemon movie or Detective Pikachu, which was decent. Like I had a fun time watching it. So who knows? I think personally, like the best way to adapt games is like through TV shows. I mean, we're gonna get that with the Last of Us TV show
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Real quick on the Mario movie, do you guys think it's going to be fully animated? Did they say that? Is it going to be fully animated, or is it going to be like Chris Pratt dressed as Mario?
Well, it's made by Illumination, which made Despicable Me, so I'm assuming it's an animated film.
Likely, but I think Illumination has done. I want to say they've done other stuff that's not animated, but I might be totally off.
Illumination. Let's see. Illumination. See, isn't Google a beautiful thing? Okay. They have no, that they only have two franchises under their belts. It's Despicable Me and Secret Life of Pets. I guess they made
both
Sing.
really good in my opinion. Sing is actually a really good movie.
So yeah, this is going to be an animated for sure.
Oh, they made the Grinch that came out a few years ago,
which was also good, dude. I like Illumination.
I didn't even realize how many Despicable Me movies there are.
You're
Min-
making me
There
think of
are
the
quite
minion
a few.
phase.
there's one coming out next year, I guess, called Minions: The Rise of Gru. Okay.
I see that. I just saw that. What the heck? Sing 2?
Yeah, I actually remember seeing the trailer for Sing 2 like before. What movie did I just go watch? What
Was it
movie
Shang-Chi?
Yeah. It was right before Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I
The
saw the
trailer.
same trailer actually.
I don't remember seeing that trailer.
I thought it was so weird in that movie how they sing like real, like normal songs.
Oh, also the Lorax is fire. That was made by Illumination.
The Lorax.
The
Oh,
Lorax
Dr.
was
Seuss.
fire.
Yeah, dang, that was a while ago, right? That 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hop. What is Hop? I'm seeing that. That was probably a stinker because I don't even know what that is. But yeah, Secret Life. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're pretty good. And then it looks like recipients. Oh, okay, never mind. I saw Tyler the Creator made music for the Grinch film.
So it's pretty much confirmed that this is gonna
That's
be
right.
animated.
yeah.
So
This is definitely gonna be animated. So yeah, I think that. I mean, if you're ever gonna make a Nintendo movie or a TV show, I feel like it's got to be animated with all that the art style. But I'd say that's enough for the Mario movie. I think we're all optimistic about it, right? But let's kind of circle back around to the beginning. Now we're not going to talk about everything because, to be fair, I think we just don't care about everything. Like I don't think we really have much to say about like Bayonetta 3, for example. I think it looks like Bayonetta.
It was a cool announcement. I mean,
yeah,
it's cool that we finally get to see it.
Yeah, but not like any in-depth thoughts really that we have on it. And then I will also get this out of the way. There's gonna be a big, I guess, Animal Crossing update. They're gonna have their own direct for it, I think next month, which is interesting. I'm not that big on Animal Crossing. I know Tana is. I think is Casey big on Animal Crossing?
No, not really.
Not really. Yeah,
I know Andrew's really big on Animal Crossing. So I wish that he was here to
give us some in-depth,
some speculations. But
yeah, because he has like 400 hours on like New Horizons, like or the one that came out last year.
I have 1/10 of that, 40.
I have 1/10 of yours. But and then also a kind of quick cover. Final Smash character is going to be coming soon. I want to ask you guys real quick. Prediction. Who do you think the final Smash Ultimate character will be? John, give us a guess.
Imagine if it was Master Chief. Just imagine. I don't really have a lot of guesses because every extra character that's come out has either been from a game I've never played or don't care about. Or like, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't really know what to expect because a lot of the characters they've put out, like, I would have never guessed. I had no idea who they were.
It better not be a stinker. Let's just hope.
I hope it's not a stinker. We don't need any more. I don't think we need any more Street Fighter people. I don't think we need any more Final Fantasy people. I'd love to see Crash. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'd love to see like Waluigi. I don't think it's gonna happen. Master Chief, I actually think could potentially happen, but again, I don't have high hopes. But those are my three.
Also, the day that I'm pretty sure the last character is supposed to come out, right, in December. I'm pretty sure that's the same day that Halo Infinite releases. Like, so it could just. So, what about you, Parker?
Johnny Napalm.
What?
The Guitar Hero character, but
Johnny Napalm.
I don't know, man. It could really be anything because they really have gone like long reaches for a lot of these characters. It's so hard. I maybe would think Master Chief could that would probably be the most reasonable pick, but I don't think they're gonna do that. They could go for a game that I've never heard of or never played. So
I was gonna probably say Master Chief as well, honestly.
Probably the most reasonable one that makes most sense.
Just because I'm trying to think. They're not doing Dante from Devil May Cry because he's a me character. I don't know
They're
if there's
not
any.
doing Waluigi because he's already in the game as like a trophy.
Well, you don't think they'd add
Or
Waluigi?
no, I don't think so.
I imagine him being the final character. I feel like they got to
That'd
go
be
out
kind
with
of a
it.
meme. It'd be kind of a
Well,
meme.
who was the final character for Smash 4? Final DLC.
I think it was Bayonetta. I want to say it was Bayonetta.
4. But let's see. Oh, downloadable content. Super Smash Bros. 4, Wave 6. It was. Oh wait, these are cost. Wait, hold up. Those are. Oh yeah. It was Bayonetta. Bayonetta was the last one. So, I don't know.
Right? Right? It could be.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll change it. I'll guess Crash. How about that? I'll guess Crash, just to have it a little different. We have a couple different guesses. Now I'd love to see Crash and Smash.
Crash and Smash. Dude, it would be legendary if we saw Crash or Master Chief, I think.
Yeah.
Like that would just make Smash like there's no reason to ever make another game. Honestly. Like
yeah.
Kind of a perfect game.
I think for the next Switch, like I think what their loophole is going to be, because they've said, oh, this is the last Smash game. I bet that it's going to be like for the next Nintendo console, it's going to be like Smash Ultimate, like Plus or something. You know how like Mario Kart 8 has like it's like it was called like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah,
so I think they're
the
gonna
Ultimate Deluxe.
Yeah, like it's gonna be something like that. It's gonna have a subtitle. It's gonna be like Ultimate Edition. Like you can just buy the game and it has like all the characters, all the DLC characters, something like that.
I'd probably repurchase it for the Switch 2 or whatever is the next one. Yeah. I probably would buy it again for all the characters.
Yeah.
TBH.
Yeah, I mean, Smash or Smash, like that's an auto purchase. But what do you guys think about Kirby and the Forgotten Lands? John, do you want to take this one off?
Yeah, so I know there's some talk about like, oh, is this going to be like a fully open world Kirby game? Nah. I think we can all say nah.
I feel like they would have made it more obvious.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Like the initial scene or the initial like footage for the game that they showed kind of looks like a rundown city, almost looks like Seattle from The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be that level of like I don't think there's even going to be that level of exploration. I'm guessing it's going to be more like Odyssey, where it's just kind of like level based, or even 3D World, where it's like level based open world, but it's not like fully open world, but like you can go to large areas where you're able to explore. I don't think it'll be on the scale of like Bowser's Fury. I think it'll be probably between that and Odyssey, or even like on the level of Odyssey. But I think if they do a good job with this, it could be a really good game. I trust Nintendo with all my heart on making platformers. So I think it could actually be really good. I don't really play Kirby games typically, but who knows? They make a good platformer.
Like I don't really care for like Kirby games either, but the way I'm viewing it is like if they literally swapped out the Kirby character model and threw in Mario, like bro, this could be it.
Right, it could be like tens across the board, like
like
98 on Metacritic.
Yeah, like okay, like it looks very similar to Odyssey, which I mean, I don't think Odyssey is the greatest game in the world. I mean, we've talked about how we think it's overrated, but hey, that's still like I said, like that's like an 8 out of 10 in my book, and 8 out of 10 is great in my book, and I would love to have another great platformer. Like platforming games I love them. So like if they, like even something in like I also not as big on 3D World as the rest of you guys, but I think Bowser's Fury is amazing. So honestly, like even at their worst, I think Nintendo platformers are still great. So I think I'm excited. So but then moving on,
and it comes out in spring.
Oh yeah,
most likely.
I think February was the release. February or March. Was the release date?
I don't think they gave a date. I thought they just said spring 2022. So it's probably going to be like May or something.
All right, cool. Well then, kind of going on from there, with the kind of other big news, which I mean, I personally didn't care for, but I know Parker, you're big on, and John, I'm not actually sure about you, but Nintendo, they announced an upgrade to Nintendo Switch Online called Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pass, which I guess maybe continues the tradition of terrible. Yeah, Nintendo can be hit or miss, but sometimes their naming schemes are pretty fucking terrible. This being one of them. Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pass.
Who's supposed to remember that? Like how?
Yeah, just say like Nintendo Switch Online Plus.
Yeah,
like
just keep it simple.
But the big thing with it is, it's going to be another tier of like purchase for the like Nintendo Switch Online, and it's going to essentially allow you to play. Was it Sega Genesis? I'm not sure about the yes,
Sega Genesis
and Nintendo 64 games. So it's going to be, you know, like they're bringing back some classic games, and you can actually use the controllers from those consoles somehow, because they're re-releasing those like controllers, and you can play with
wireless versions.
So I am not like, I don't care too much because I just feel like games like the older games, like older 3D games in particular, like I feel like they're just really hard to control and like take away from a lot of the fun. But if there's any like 2D games, like it's probably the Sega Genesis ones, like I'd be down to play those. But I actually like, I know I'm probably gonna get shat on for this, but I don't have that much interest in, you know, going back and playing like probably Super Mario 64, because I feel like the controls are like really janky. But Parker,
that's me.
You're probably gonna shit on us. So take the floor. Take the floor and do your thing.
Well, I have honestly, all the games that they showed in the direct, I've played like most of those, like a lot, just through my childhood. So the only game I'd really get this expansion pack for would be Majora's Mask, which is supposedly coming in the future, like not right at the release. So honestly, I'm not crazy excited. I wish there was like just a full virtual console like the Wii had, where it wasn't just limited to a couple consoles. It's everything from Nintendo throughout the past. The Wii Virtual Console did it perfect, but they just had I really only want to play Majora's Mask. I have played through Ocarina of Time, and I really haven't had a way to play Majora's Mask yet. So that's really I think it's good for people to have the access to these games that have never played them before, because Ocarina of Time is a 10 out of 10 in my book. One of the best games of all time. Mario 64, I know you guys probably wouldn't like it, but great game. I played that game like 5 times, so I really don't need to
you like
get
Ocarina,
the expansion pack for that.
And you like Ocarina of Time more than Breath of the Wild, correct?
Yes, by a long shot.
Do you think Ocarina of Time, Parker, would hold up today? Like if you replayed it when it came out on the expansion whatever plus pack?
I think it
would you play?
I think it would. I would consider a replay like in a few years. But not right now.
It'd be so janky because it came out in like
95
late 90s,
right?
Yeah.
98, I think. Yeah.
Well, honestly, the controls for that game are a little weird, but nothing feels like out of character unsmooth. Like if you get the hang of the controls, you'll be able to play through the game fine. Honestly, I think they did a remaster or re-release.
They did on the 3DS.
Yeah,
they remastered it on the 3DS.
I wish they would do that with the Nintendo Switch expansion pack. Like if they came out with the re-release for Ocarina of Time somehow, so it could look a little better for people to play. I don't think they're gonna do that, but
do you think?
Honestly, I'm excited.
I was gonna say, do you see this being like something like, is this gonna bring you back into the Switch ecosystem, Parker, or
maybe for 1 or 2 games? Not really. I'm still a heavy PC gamer. That's where I'm mainly at right now. I play the Switch just for the games that, you know, are really highly touted, really fun multiplayer games. But I honestly, I've played so many of these classic Nintendo games that it's like, they're re-releasing the games I've already played. It's really nothing crazy. I already know what these games are about. So
I'm
I mean,
very,
I just wish
very
they did a full
curious.
virtual console.
Yeah, I'm very curious what the pricing point is going to be on it. Because I mean, it can't be that much more expensive. Like Nintendo Switch Online, the whole year is $20. So it's like, do you think they're going to go with a monthly model, or like, are they gonna like? I'm curious how that pricing point is going to come in. But John, what do you
They'll
think
probably
about?
still have a yearly pricing model, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they'll have multiple tiers like they always do.
Yeah, John, but what do you
Yeah.
think about expansion pass?
Big meh. I'm not gonna play any of these games. Like, yes, I'll admit I've kind of wanted to see what Ocarina of Time is all about, just because Parker and the internet hypes it up so much. Even with its age, it's hyped a lot.
It
So-
holds up it holds up even after coming out in '98. It still holds up today, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'd like to see if that holds true, in my opinion. But
Breath of the Wild.
in Breath of the Wild, bro, how can you go back from that? I just don't think that any of those games are gonna make me want to pay extra for an already subpar online service.
Yeah, Nintendo Switch Online's terrible.
Like if they would
It's
have
terrible.
if they would have added GameCube games, that would have been cool.
Yes.
Dude, yeah, that would have been huge.
That I would have paid extra for.
A full virtual console, like I'm telling you, would have
Hit
been
and
the
run,
move.
The Simpsons hit and run on a GameCube, bro. Imagine.
That's kind of like summarizes like my thoughts on it too, where like I was talking to these guys earlier in the week, where for me, like the earliest I could probably go back at this point with all the quality of life improvements with gaming in general is probably the era I started out with, which is that PS2 GameCube era. I have a lot of fond memories with that era, and I would love to go back to that era. And like, you know, like that's why same with like PlayStation. Like I would love for them to have better backwards compatibility with like PS2 era. You know, same with GameCube. Like I would love for the Switch to have GameCube games. I mean, because you know, those games are on both consoles. Specifically, I want to give a random shout out to there's like a Jango Fett game on the GameCube back in the day that was like called like Star Wars Bounty Hunter, and it was like I remember playing it and it was so hype. I don't know if you guys ever played that.
No, but the Battlefront games too.
Yeah, Battlefront. Yeah,
bro. Hit and run, Shadow of the Colossus on PS2.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, and
like even Ocarina of Time, bro.
Majora's Mask.
Ocarina of Time, sorry.
Majora's Mask.
Wind Waker.
Wind Waker,
yeah,
yes.
Wind Waker. Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, I think I mean I might check it out. I'll see what the selection is again once it releases, but I don't know. Maybe I'll be holding off for a GameCube expansion pass.
I agree.
I'm probably just gonna temporarily get it for playing Majora's Mask and then just cancel the membership. I don't plan on keeping this on my Switch for ever or like for a long amount of time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip this one, but it's a cool announcement.
Yeah,
worth mentioning. Absolutely.
Nintendo is moving in the right direction. Like it's better them doing this than nothing.
Oh, and then Splatoon 3 was also talked about, or shown again. I know that Ursel, you don't really care much for Splatoon, but Parker and I do enjoy it. I'm actually just hyped about it, mostly because refresh Splatoon means new maps, basically. And the maps on the old game, I mean, if you play like more than, I would say like 30 hours of the game, which is very possible because it's just a multiplayer kind of, not shooter, but kind of like shooter
marking
strategy.
It's like a territory capture kind of deal.
Yeah, but
I don't know how to explain it.
It's kind of hard to explain, but most people know what Splatoon is, I feel like
objective
hopefully
based
if you're
game,
listening,
like team play.
Yeah. but it's very much team-based. I really like those kind of games. Obviously, I'm a big fan of like Rocket League. I really like Splatoon. But biggest reason I'm excited for it is refreshed maps, because the maps on the old game get very old and stale quickly. And honestly, the biggest thing I'm hoping for with this game is, maybe a campaign that I care to play. Hopefully it looks better than the last one, but the visuals look similar. And then a ton of new maps. Like, give me more than like 8 maps to play, because it just gets stale a little bit. If you play a game for like 30 hours and it's the same 8 maps every time, and that's all you can really do.
I just don't know. I don't know how much better this game can look considering it's on a Nintendo Switch. Like, compared to the last game, I don't know how much more improvements they can do.
My thing with like multiplayer games is I feel like we're just kind of really moving towards there's one game and that game is just kind of continuously updated model, kind of like Rocket League or Warzone or things like that. Like, that's even like, people have been talking about like with Call of Duty. It's like, do we really need a new Call of Duty every year, or can we just get like map updates? Like even Overwatch, like Overwatch 2 is getting kind of roasted for it. It's like, why are we getting an Overwatch 2 when all these changes you're talking about literally just seem like another update for the game, instead of a full-blown $60 sequel? And it's like, maybe there could have just been in a reality where Nintendo is up with the times. It would be, I feel like it'd be cool to just have Splatoon, and it's just like, we keep seeing like new maps for Splatoon coming out every year. Because I feel like that's just a better model for multiplayer games than having that $60 new release every, however many years. But I don't know how you guys feel about that.
No, I agree. And it's not like I said, it's not like we really care about the story. Like, it'd be cool if there was a decent campaign in it. And I've heard the Splatoon 2 campaign was okay, but like, I don't.
No.
I mean, how interesting can it be when it's about squids that paint the ground with paint? I don't know.
EA, take notes.
Like,
listen to what we're saying,
dude. Imagine if there was like a Warzone kind of like, or like a really large map with a ton of Splatoon characters, and it
like
was
a Splatoon Battle Royale.
Yes, dude, that could be really cool. But
that'd be really popular.
They're not gonna get there very quickly if they're making full-fledged game updates, because if Splatoon 3 doesn't have anything like that, it never will.
I also don't think that
how Nintendo goes.
I also don't think. Well, I guess the Switch has Fortnite, so maybe not. But I was gonna say, maybe I don't know if the Switch could like run like a 100-player Splatoon game, but who knows?
No way.
Yeah,
no way. Unless they did some cloud shit. But
cloud shit.
Maybe like a 30 Nintendo doing 40, that. Maybe a 30 or 40 person lobby would work, but 100 definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, because in that lobby at the beginning of the game, like in the menu, there's like 40 people there, but it runs at like 20 FPS.
Yeah, that main landing place is awful.
Yeah,
it's hard to even walk anywhere without lagging.
Yeah, it looks bad.
I'm starting to be like, bro, like a year in, like I'm like, shit, like 30 FPS. Like I know when we play Breath of the Wild 2, I know hopefully the Kirby game is not 30. Because I know Super Mario 3D World was 60.
And I hope Splatoon 3 is 60, because Splatoon 2 was 60. Besides that, like, menu screen.
This is why putting like terrible hardware in a console release is like just so limiting, because like when you get 5-6 years down the road and you still have to come out with new games, you're limited to so much because of the hardware that you're working with.
Even your first party games.
It's a terrible model, honestly.
I mean, honestly though, like if Breath of the Wild 2 comes out and it's in the same ballpark as the first game in terms of quality, and it's a cross-gen game, I would probably buy it on the next gen console if it was 60 FPS.
I think I would too.
It'd be worth
the Hertz horror. The Hertz horror over here.
Hertz. The hearse or yeah, but honestly, like at this point, like I don't know, 30 FPS, like it feels like, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats. It's like it's time we finally just went back to 60 FPS. Um but
At least
anyway,
Smash is.
Yeah. As long as it's like the games that at the end of the day, the ones that are competitive, as long as those are 60, which they already are, we're good. But I would love Breath of the Wild 2 at 60 FPS. Just do it.
Oh, imagine in 4K, but I
That's
doubt it.
asking a lot.
I'll take 60 FPS over 4K.
You know what I see happening? If they come out with a new Nintendo console, it's not going to have the top of the lines again, and it's probably going to be 30 FPS even on the new console.
It'll be less powerful than PS4.
Yeah, it's just that's typical Nintendo. Like, well, you think they're going to come out with a 60 FPS game? That's asking too much out of them at this point.
Not a single player anyway. Not a single player 60
or
FPS
just get, or at least at the very least, make sure Korok Forest is more than
usable,
a slideshow.
Playable.
Yeah.
Make it look a little different, maybe.
Yeah. Or you know what? If you guys want to keep it exactly the same. Yeah. But okay. Anyways, that's enough of Nintendo. But good.
I'd say that was a win at the end of the day.
That was a win. Funny how we were all waiting for Breath of the Wild 2, and then they showed it, and the direct without it was better than the one with it.
Yeah. But, they could have just waited.
Yeah, saved it for this one.
Yeah, honestly. This one would have been legendary.
Yeah, but anyways, good on you, Nintendo. Andrew, we'll be asking for your opinion maybe next week, and you can champion it then as well. But yeah, that's it for the Nintendo Direct, and I think that might be the last main Direct for Nintendo for the year. But we'll see.
So yeah.
And yeah, that was really our only current event for the week. So let's go ahead and get into the main topic.
Podcasts and web shows are on the rise, and for good reason. They're great sources of entertainment and can be great listens in multitudes of situations like long drives or intense study sessions. Maybe, just maybe, you have an idea for a show or podcast that you want to put out into the world. Well, lucky for you, it's never been easier to jump into podcasting thanks to the wonderful people at Anchor.fm. Anchor takes care of most of the back-end work of podcasts. No more are the days of coordinating releases on multiple platforms, paying for a podcast hosting subscription to hold your RSS feed, or other hassles. Anchor sets up your podcast on all the major podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple automatically. They even provide sleek and easy-to-use editing tools that can be accessed from your phone or computer to get your podcast to the world through the path of least resistance. Anchor also matches you up with sponsors so that you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and even gives you in-depth stats for your shows like total plays, regions of viewership, as well as what kind of devices your show is being listened on. Here's the best part about all of this. It's free. So what are you waiting for? Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. If you're ready to add your voice and vision to the mix, it's never been easier. And I highly recommend you go the way of Anchor.fm, just like the ControllerCast did. So here you go. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. That's Anchor.fm.
And the main topic of this week is a throwback. And we're continuing our movie series. This week, it's going to be a retrospective on Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
The best one.
Yeah. So this is obviously, the direct, or maybe actually it's not necessarily a direct follow-up. Yeah, because it takes place 10 years after after Phantom Menace. It came out in 2002. The original one came out in 1999. So, or episode 1 came out in 1999. So, 3 years afterwards, we got episode 2 in 2002. And it's really, we're not going to do like a plot by plot breakdown, but the gist of it is it's the second part of this trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and at the core of this film, it is very much a love story. This movie is it's intergalactic Romeo and Juliet, two people that aren't supposed to be together that are together.
For whatever reason they call this movie Attack of the Clones when it should be called Attack of Anakin's Boner. It's really what it should be.
Oh
yeah.
Gosh.
And where do we start? I guess let's start off with our initial thoughts. Where do I start? let me I'm trying to figure out where to even start with this. Is it as bad as I thought it was going into rewatching it last night? No. Because I'm okay. Like, I did find some enjoyment in it. And to be honest, I think this movie overall is a lot more like neutral in terms of like bad versus positive and negatives than like Phantom Menace. Like, I mean, like across the board consistency, but I don't think it has like the highs of the Phantom Menace. This is why probably the Phantom Menace is better, is because the Phantom Menace has more highs, but I think some of the lows on this film are low.
They're icky.
Yeah,
they're really like painful, cringe worthy.
Yeah. Like, my God, like how was anyone on the like production floor like filming this and walking away from this and being like, yeah, that was good. That was
it.
Yeah, that was it. And I mean, like, look, even like Natalie,
did they do any retakes?
But yeah, this movie has fantastic actors in it. Natalie Portman is a fantastic actress. Christopher Lee from fucking, he was in fucking the same year. He was in Two Towers as fucking Saruman. And he's Count Dooku in this film.
It was the same time.
Yeah,
wow.
Literally the same year.
That's insane.
So like, and then obviously Ewan McGregor, he's a great actor. I actually think he does pretty good in this film. But Natalie Portman, man, she got fucked in terms of whatever script they gave her. But yeah, I think, okay, initial thoughts. I think this probably is the worst film in the series. Not by that much, but honestly, it is still in the same general ballpark for me as Phantom Menace. But yeah, this movie is a stinker, and I'm glad that we're finally getting through these two, because whenever we do anything else after this, the quality jump is going to be a lot higher until obviously we find our way back to the end of the saga.
Yeah, the next like 5 episodes will be very will be a lot more positive.
Yeah, but what do you, John? What are your general thoughts?
So I'm going to be giving this movie a lot of shit, but I'm also going to be giving this movie a lot of love. I have very fond memories with this movie. It was the first one I ever saw in theaters, and we saw it multiple times, actually, my dad and I, back when I was like 4, maybe even 5, like when it had been out for a while and was finally in like the dollar store theater. That's not like the right word, but you know what I'm talking about, Parker? That cheap theater in Omaha that's like
Westbrook,
literally $1. Yeah.
I didn't grow up in Omaha, so I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. That's true. The one that plays older movies. Yeah. Slightly older. Yeah.
So we saw it multiple times in theaters. I actually like I have a lot of nostalgia with this movie. And when I rewatch it, I find a lot of the reason that I enjoy it is because of the nostalgia of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when it really comes down to it as a film, and if you're if this wasn't a Star Wars movie and it was the same movie, just it takes Star Wars out of it, and it's just like basic plot of the movie with the dialogue, it's a terrible movie.
I want to know, but before we hand over to Parker, Does your dad like really enjoy this movie then? If you guys went and saw it like multiple times, or
My dad actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know my dad listens to these podcasts, and I'll update you guys next week if I hear back. I think he does really enjoy this movie. I actually think it's one of his favorites. I'm not sure
Favorites?
why.
favorites?
I think so. And I'm not
Interesting.
sure why. Because I don't share that sentiment at all.
Does he
Like,
enjoy the
okay,
romance? Has
I
he ever
don't
said like
know.
what do you? I mean, to
I
be
think
fair,
I think he likes Count Dooku a lot. And I like Count Dooku a lot. He's a badass Sith Lord, and I don't think he gets enough credit. But it's just ugh. You
to be
like
fair,
again, take out the Star
Yeah.
Wars and it's
yeah. To be
disgusting.
fair, my dad's favorite is Phantom Menace. But I mean, my dad's a very, very, very casual Star Wars viewer, and like him, just that final battle in Episode 1 is like enough, just because it's so awesome, like for him to be like, yeah, that's my favorite. I also don't think we've seen Phantom Menace in a long time, so so who
Yeah.
knows? But
that
yeah,
I mean, that lightsaber battle is ridiculous. Like, okay, the intro scene is one of my favorite intro scenes in Star Wars. Like, some of the battle scenes are iconic, but there's just moments of bad acting throughout the film that are just
Yeah.
too hard. It's just hard to overlook it.
yeah. But what about you, Parker? What are your general thoughts on this movie?
So I first watched this movie when I was in high school. As you guys know, I had a huge Star Wars spree.
Oh yeah, that's right.
My parents actually got the huge Star Wars collection, so I just went through them all. And going into the Attack of the Clones, I was expecting, hey, we're gonna see Darth Vader grow up and become this badass. We're gonna see the Imperial fucking leader he is, how he can lead an empire to destroy things, and just see how that personality develops. Instead, I got this cheesy ass, sappy, terrible script, bad lines throughout the whole movie. This was not Darth Vader. This was terrible. And I throughout the whole movie, I'm like, that did not feel like they reshot that. Like they just went with the first take they got, and then they hit cut and it said it was done. There were like 10 times throughout that movie, or through Attack of the Clones, where I'm like, did they really look at that and think that should be in the film? That was terrible. And it just felt like also the script. I felt like it was mainly a George Lucas problem and not an actor problem, because the script just seemed very forced. It didn't seem like the actors didn't have freedom to like change the lines, or at least make it somewhat like reasonable or like a natural feeling conversation. All conversations seem forced. There's one example I can think of where Anakin just looks over creepily at Padme, and he says, "Sorry, my lady," and it just feels so forced. It doesn't feel like a real relationship.
I feel like he says that a few times too.
It's just not something people would say. This isn't human interaction. This
fucking reminding me of Game of Thrones season 8, where fucking Jon Snow just kept saying, "My queen, my queen,
my queen." Yeah, just like the bitch boy.
Yeah, the bitch boy.
A little bit.
And that's like kind of another like cardinal sin of this film. More than even the first one, you can kind of give it some excuse, like an excuse to Anakin because he's a fucking kid. And then, but this one, dude is just a bitch. He's just a whiny bitch. The whole movie.
Yes.
It's not Darth Vader. That's a pussy. That's what it is.
It's not fair.
It's not Darth.
Even like there's a scene after after he comes back from like killing those Tusken Raiders, after his mom dies. And it's just like, and he's like, I killed all of them. I hate them. And it's like playing it's playing the like Empire theme in the background. I'm like, is this supposed to be like dark and creepy? Because he's just coming off like a bitch. Like literally. He's coming off like a crybaby.
I hate them.
And
it wasn't even like, oh gosh.
And
I'm just glad he improved in the next film a little bit. his acting, like Jesus Christ.
Dude, Anakin reminded me of just like a horny frat boy in like West Omaha. It's really what it reminded me of. He didn't seem like a badass at all.
And like, I don't know,
one scene.
Like I just felt like very I felt like borderline uncomfortable in most scenes that he was in. Because it was just like, dude, like, okay, just starting from like, okay, let's kind of round it back like around towards the beginning of the film. You know, they're supposed to like protect, you know, the kind of the thing that kicks off the plot really is that they're supposed to protect you know, Padme. And it starts off with this assassination attempt. And like before this, they're like talking and okay, first off, two things with why Anakin, I fucking hate Anakin in this movie. One, he's a dickhead to like anyone around him. Like Obi-Wan is trying to like talk, like explain the plan, like, hey, we're gonna take care of you, Padme. And he just keeps interrupting Obi-Wan.
Yes.
And Obi-Wan is like, you are a fucking apprentice. Know your place. Shut the fuck up.
Anakin also abandoned the plan and took Padme to literally Naboo and Tatooine. It's like you were supposed to stay on the same planet like he instructed you, but instead you just did your own thing and you disobeyed his orders. Like he's like such a dickhead.
He's literally like a rebelling teenager, but he's like 18. Or he's supposed to be like 18, right?
He's supposed to be a Jedi master. Like
but he's supposed to be a Padawan in this film, but like but still, like, yeah, you're supposed to be learning, but like Jesus Christ. Like imagine having anyone that you know talking like this dude. Like you're just trying to make conversation. Like Obi-Wan's just trying to make conversation with the guy, and he's like, I'd much rather be thinking about Padme. I'd much rather be dreaming of it's like imagine,
gosh,
like,
it's so bad.
Dude, there's just no subtlety. Like he just
what was George Lucas on when he wrote this? Like what was he? I can't. The writing is so bad. Like imagine the dialogue is so bad.
Like imagine us like all hanging out as friends, and it's just like, you know, like, oh, you like we're talking about our bad dreams and like I don't know, you know, we're talking about our bad dreams, and then one of us is just like, I'd much rather be dreaming about insert girl I have a crush on, and we're all just like, yeah.
We would all just be like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Does anyone care what he thinks?
Yeah. And this
like I was referring to earlier, like I think it's a huge George Lucas problem, not the actor's problem, because it seems like the actors didn't even get the freedom to like change the lines.
I'll admit, and I'm not a Hayden Christensen hater by any means, but I'll admit, even with the writing, like that
he was awful.
The Tusken Raider scene, like that could have been like, oh shit, like this is Anakin turning into Darth, but instead it's just like, oh, it was so did it, like he's basically on the verge of tears talking about it. Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad.
And that was like maybe the closest I got to any like genuine emotional response was when he's like carrying his mother, like, or like holding his mother while she's like dying. And even then it's just like, I just couldn't get there. I just couldn't, you know, I couldn't be on board with that all the way, just because. And also the other thing, like with that, John, like that scene, like and how we're talking about this being a George Lucas problem is like, I feel like that scene could have been a pivotal badass moment in the whole movie, and they don't show any of it.
Right.
Yeah. I was like watching, I didn't remember that they cut away from it. So like when she dies and he like looks up and like he's like got that angry face and everything, and I'm like, oh shit, he's about to like go on a fucking tear and kill all these Tusken Raiders and be a badass scene. Right. And then it's just him walking out and slashing one dude, and then it cuts away. And I'm like, oh yeah, oops. I forgot. They don't show that.
All of them. All one of them.
Yeah. I kill all of them, and I guess he killed kids and like, you know, all these people.
Yeah.
Like at least imply it a little bit more, like like Revenge of the Sith does, you know, like when we get to that later in the movie. And then I feel like then it kind of, and then Padme's response to that is to just be even more like flirtatious with the dude. Like, hey, I just killed kids and innocent women, but kiss me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Padme is overly like, why does she like what Anakin is saying to her? Like, I just thought that throughout so much of the movie, like, how is she still turned on by Anakin
No,
after
you almost
he
you
just
almost
told
start
you
to
that?
wonder if it's like a weird. You almost start to wonder if it's like a weird force ability that's implied at the end of the day, where like Padme actually is, because no lie, dude. And I don't know if it's Natalie Portman. I don't know like if George Lucas told her to do this, but she visibly looks uncomfortable most of the time in the movie.
Well,
did you guys notice that too? She
Yeah.
looks so uncomfortable.
Well, everything up until they go to Naboo, like she's constantly like, don't look at me. Like you're making me uncomfortable. Like, please.
Yeah,
like,
she says it. She says it.
And then
But
literally
then later on, she still loves him. It's weird.
and then literally the first scene on Naboo, the infamous I hate sand. Yeah, like or like it gets or what is the exact line?
It's coarse and it's rough and it gets all
everywhere.
Yeah. That line, literally right after he spits that game at Natalie Portman, they start making out, and I'm like, bro, are you fucking kidding me?
Dude, is this all I have to say to women and so I can get a girlfriend? Do I just have to tell them I don't like sand?
I
Is that
hate it.
seriously what I have to do?
I hate sand.
And like that's like the biggest cardinal sin of this film is that, because this film is trying to be a fucking like a romance, but there's negative chemistry between these two people.
It's a forced love story. It's literally forced 100% down our
icky.
throats.
It's cringy. Like it physically hurts to watch.
And the whole
so bad.
And the whole thing with like, and there's just like the point where they start liking each other. Literally the scene before that. He's interrupting her at a fucking political meeting, and she's like telling him to shut the fuck up. And like, I'm like, bro, how did we get, like, what happened between every scene before this and the scene now where you guys are making out after he says he hates sand, and then he's still acting like a fucking psycho the whole rest of the film, and she's still on board with him. And then also one of the other cringiest lines when they're about to like go out into the arena, and she's like, I am truly, deeply in love.
That was forced. That felt really forced.
It looked icky. Literally, it looks like she has trouble saying it, dude. Like, Natalie Portman's a great actress, but like, I don't think she does a good job in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Like, I think she's a really good actress, and I thought and how could she not feel uncomfortable with Hayden Christensen across from her? Like, come on.
Yeah, the moment I knew the love was completely fake and bullshit was when Padme said that. Like, I truly, deeply love you. It's like, this is completely not what she thinks at all. It literally sounds like she's bullshitting when she's saying it. It just reinforced that was a fake, like, forced love.
I also like I'm trying to figure out like what was George Lucas's, like MO with like the writing.
That's
like
what I'm trying to figure out too.
Like, was he trying to go for some like Shakespearean like thing? Because like that's the closest thing I could potentially get out of it, but like he totally fucked up. Like at that point, then maybe it is on the actors. I don't know. Like maybe they just weren't given good direction, which is also what a good director does.
I actually feel like the actors may have tried to like change these lines and actually make it sound natural, but then George Lucas halted it and told him to go with the script. I feel like that might be what happened.
And then they just get mad and they like don't act with passion. I don't know.
That could have been what happened. That's something to research, and if it's out there somewhere, it'd be really cool to know.
Yeah, and like this is kind of like my other big gripe with this film is like, this is also like, okay, like here's the thing, like
not enough Jar Jar, okay?
We'll get into Jar Jar because he has a very like pivotal inclusion in this film in the wrong way.
He does.
He's a political leader somehow. What in the world?
He was appointed at the end of the last movie.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my god.
Okay, I'm okay with creators telling stories that maybe we weren't expecting them to tell. I'm totally okay with that. We talked about that with like Last of Us 2. That was not the story that, we were expecting, but I thought they did it wonderfully. But it comes down to the execution. I don't care what direction you take any story, but you got to execute it well. A Star Wars movie that's a romantic film, it could be like, I could see it being well done, but it was not well done here. So then you start getting into the whole thing of this is not what we wanted out of the prequel trilogy, and it's like the same thing with the first film where it's like, especially considering like the third film is probably in my top 3 Star Wars films. It's like, that's the story we want. And that's for the prequel trilogy. And these first 2 films just feel like baggage trying to get to that great third film.
Yep.
And it's like,
absolutely. Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Like, it's just
this one especially feels like baggage to me.
It's like, and it's, you get what he was trying to go for with Anakin. Like, he's immature. He gets his like, or he lets his emotions get the best of him. They're trying to lay that seed down, but
they could have done it in a much better way.
They did it the entire movie.
Yeah,
that's what they did the entire movie. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Like the entire movie, he's just bitching and moaning. And that's literally it.
It just like,
it's ridiculous.
It feels strange. Like,
it's exhausting.
And I feel like they need to lay the seeds of like, they had to lay the seeds better down of like Darth Vader being the stoic. Well, like, think about the sequel trilogy or the original trilogy. He's like this calm, collected, just badass, and that's just not what he is in the prequel films. And it's like,
I agree. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting going into Attack of the Clones, was to see how Darth Vader developed into that badass, but I don't see it in Attack of the Clones one bit.
And like, at least with the third film, you get the dark side coming out. Like,
yes,
but
for sure.
In this, it's not even the dark side. It's just like, dude, you're being a bitch. Like,
yeah.
I felt like the love story could have actually been decent for Attack of the Clones if it wasn't so forced and so awkward and just cringeworthy at every conversation.
You actually cringe. Like,
yeah,
I actually was cringing.
The love story could have been pulled off well if it actually had emotion and actually made you feel like, oh, they're actually like in love. Wow. But it just wasn't pulled off correctly one bit.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things about the film though is literally the visuals.
Yeah,
I think the visuals are like
they're
one of the
amazing
best.
for the time. There's nothing that beat it. Like nothing else from that early 2000s
Blade Runner intro.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about. Well, before we get into like the positives, I wanted to say one more negative thing. Is like one okay, positive and negative. Positive, we got a lot less of Jar Jar Binks. Negative in terms of the story, not like an actual maybe knock, or actually, this is kind of a knock. I feel like so many of the events that occur in the prequel trilogy happen because so many people are fucking idiots, like and just do the dumbest shit. Like, specifically, think about this: the entire Star Wars saga could have been stopped if Jar Jar didn't rally up the Senate to give complete control to fucking Palpatine. I was like,
complete control.
Don't these Jedi, like when they're talking to Palpatine in the council or whatever, aren't these Jedis capable of sensing like the dark side? Or like
Jar Jar has the dark side running through his veins.
Yeah, like how do you
He knew exactly what he was doing.
How do you not sense the Sith powers when you're sitting by Palpatine already? Like,
dude,
you're a Jedi.
I remember there were literally theory videos that Snoke was Jar Jar because of that. Like that whole thing. Like Jar Jar knew exactly what he was doing, appointing Palpatine and giving him full control or rallying up the Senate to do so. It's so stupid.
Like it was literally like, it's so funny because it's like Palpatine talking with his advisor, like, who could make such a bold declaration? If only Princess Senator Padme was here, and he's filling in for Padme, and he's like, and you just see Jar Jar just look off and like think for a second, and then it cuts away, and then the next shot is fucking the next time you see him is him making this bold political declaration. And it's
so ridiculous.
Dude, how did Jar Jar Binks become the leader of the Senate? It's just shocking. What?
Because he accidentally like helped in he accidentally deactivated all of the droids in the first movie. Like accidentally.
So Jar Jar deserves to be the leader of every. Oh, right, yeah.
Leader of the free galaxies.
Yeah, but let's maybe we could shift gears here and talk about some of the more positive aspects of film, or some of the more confusing, more debatable things that are like, not, this is fucking terrible. So let's kind of shift gears, which I want us to talk about with the intro of the film. So kind of going into the positives, and one like general positive I do want to say about this film, and honestly, this prequel trilogy in general, is this. Yes, the first two movies are stinkers, okay? But I think they're still setting up plot threads and a general follow through with the plot that makes the third one the most, enjoyable out of these three. Like compared to like the sequel trilogy, where you have no idea what the fuck is going on by the third film. Like you're just completely lost. And but like at least and like at least with this film,
that was so subtle.
Yeah.
Such a big statement.
But like at least there's a general follow through, like what is happening in the story. And so that's like a positive. Like I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it on this pod, but I'm gonna take the prequels plot consistency and world building over whatever the sequel trilogy brings to the table. I couldn't tell you. But yeah.
I agree. Please, just Return of the Jedi is the last movie. End it at that.
But no, honestly, like when I think of Star Wars lore, right? How rich and deep the lore is. Honestly, a lot of my thoughts go to the prequel trilogy, and I think of stuff like the opening scene of this film, like Coruscant.
Yeah.
Like, the prequel trilogy really expanded like the horizons of like what Star Wars lore can entail. It's not just desert planets and like rural stuff. It's like, look at these bustling, huge, like, Coruscant, the entire planet is one huge city, which is crazy. And I love.
It's a really cool concept.
Yeah, and I love this intro. I think it's a great. I think this is probably the best part of the film. No lie.
Yeah.
Like
even over the final fight.
Yeah. Honestly, but what do you guys think of this opening? Because I think it's the highlight of the film, and it's the beginning. I know, as ridiculous as some of the scenes in this intro get, I still think it's cool. Like literally Anakin jumping off and somehow landing on
the music.
Yeah.
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 I know that's a terrible representation, and I apologize to the listeners, but like it's so good. Like the music is incredible in that scene. Like all of the audio effects are really good. I love the sound of like the racing flying cars in general.
Yeah.
Like you don't see a lot of that. I feel like you don't see a lot of that except for in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it kind of like makes you wonder about some of the other Star Wars planets, and like it'd be cool to see some more of Coruscant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the intro was dope, even with Anakin flying like a flying squirrel, and just landing right on Obi-Wan's car. I mean, Obi-Wan was following him, so and I thought like the idea of an assassin trying to kill the princess or whatever I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
But they don't really. I mean, it doesn't really amount to much. I mean, honestly, to be honest, this movie I feel like can actually be taken out of the Star Wars universe. Besides the world building that it does, which is really cool. Story
Well,
wise, it could be taken out.
I feel like there's one thing that's kind of stops this film from being taken out, and I think that is Camino with like
Jango
so
Fett.
yeah. So, well, Parker, did you have any, I guess, thoughts on the opening of the film?
The opening scene was pretty cool. It's your typical Star Wars opening. I'm not gonna lie. Just it starts out with starships exploding and people jumping around everywhere and driving these pods. That's what led me to like the super high expectations going in. Like, man, this is gonna be badass. I can't wait to watch this Star Wars movie. I'm gonna watch some cool battles and see some badass shit. But didn't turn out that way in the last part of the movie. But the intro scene was very well done. It kind of gave it was really good CGI, and the sound, like John was referring to, the sound effects are really solid. Star Wars never messes that up. I
Yeah.
haven't seen a movie where John Williams has messed it up, honestly.
Yeah, and like, so this movie is like really, I feel like split into two parts, and it's Anakin's just shitty shit. But honestly, I don't think that Obi-Wan's storyline is that bad. Like, I think it's kind of interesting. It brings up some interesting questions or plot points, even though the movie never decides to answer it, and neither does the film after this or any other film. Specifically, so Obi-Wan is trying to essentially like the plots are, Anakin is trying to protect Padme. That's like the whole plot of his storyline until he has to go save Obi-Wan later. And then Obi-Wan is this whole film trying to track down who the assassin was at the beginning of the film. And he finds his way to Camino eventually. And this was super cool because it's like, oh, okay, and like this is what we're talking about, where it's like 10 years ago, a unknown Jedi or unknown Force user, whatever, it's kind of vague, came to establish a clone army for the Republic, and like, and this person was Saifu Diaz. They so and
I'm
it's
sorry,
very
I can't stop laughing.
It's like very vague. Okay, it's like
the greatest mystery in the Star Wars universe.
Like, and he even Obi-Wan like is like, Saifu Diaz was killed 10 years ago, like when this would have happened, and like he even brings it up to like Yoda and Mace Windu, and they're like, we never did order this, so someone must have done this like behind, like without our permission. And I'm like,
I was waiting for the follow through.
Yeah, seriously, I'm like, because I'm thinking like watching this film that Saifu Diaz is like, okay, so maybe Palpatine, like it's so confusing. So it's like okay, so the original idea I had was Palpatine came and set this up so that one day when he's able to take control of the Senate, he can be like, there's this army that is being built. We can grab this army, and then obviously Order 66, all that shit. But what I guess is actually the case, which is explained through like the Clone Wars cartoon, is like Saifu Diaz was actually his own person. It was Saifu Diaz, and he had the Force ability of like he could see into the future. So he was like, "Yo, we're gonna need these like an army," and the obviously Jedi Council was like, "Fuck you." So he went and did it himself, but somehow, and this is like it makes it even more confusing. Like somehow the Sith found out about this, and they were able to like manipulate the clones during this process, like so that the clones would have some order that it's like weird. Like it almost makes more sense for it to have originally been Palpatine, like because I think John, you were saying that was George Lucas's original plan, right?
It was, yeah. And it's funny because watching the movie, I actually like on not this most recent watch through, but my one previous to that, I remember hearing Obi-Wan talk about Sifo Dyas and like, oh, why isn't this like, you know, where's the information about this or whatever, and like you know, Camino in general. And I was like, do I not remember something? Like, is there a major character that I'm forgetting about? But no, they just fucking
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about it in the Clone Wars TV show, I guess. Like that's where it's explained. But I didn't watch it. I mean, there's like what, 10 seasons?
Yeah.
I've heard it's good, but
it's also just a weird, like, you know, like what exactly was the idea when that show didn't exist? Like when like I guess, yeah, it's like, is it Palpatine? Like, I mean, we knew it was supposed to be Palpatine, but it's kind of weird how it's something like that is just left kind of open to interpretation. It's kind of just a mystery, really, up until recently when the Clone Wars expanded upon it. Also, like with his whole hunt, right, to find out who it is. It's like, maybe it's because I've seen this movie multiple times, but I'm like, bro, like, is it really that big of a mystery that it's going to be anyone but Count fucking Dooku who's doing this? And no one wants to believe it. Like, even at the beginning of the film, they're like, Count Dooku would never do such a thing.
That's what I'm saying. How the hell do the Jedi not see this?
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, that suggests that Count Dooku is just kind of a big badass and he's very strong, but
it's also like, I mean, you don't even need like Jedi powers to like gather this. It's like, this is like plain as fucking day.
Yeah, that's what it's so silly. That pissed me off almost as much as the love story, because it just makes me even more so feel like this movie's unnecessary. Like that all we needed to see of Count Dooku was what we saw at the beginning of episode 3.
and you gotta, and maybe rewatching episode 3 like what kind of cleared this up for me. But what is, I was also confused watching it this time, like what is Dooku's plan? Because he's talking when he captures Obi-Wan, right? When Obi-Wan is on Geonosis and he's on that, like, you know, thing spinning around. He's talking about like, I left the Jedi Order because I found out that it was corrupt and that the Jedi Order now is being run by a Sith Lord. Like that, like the whole council, like, you know, there's a like Sith Lord that is secretly running this all, and that is why I left. So then you're, you know, sitting there and you're like, wait, is Count Dooku? I was rewatching it. I'm like, is Count Dooku actually like in the right here? Like, what's going on? But then at the end of the movie, he's with Palpatine, and also, you know, I know at the beginning of the third film, he has Palpatine captured. So I'm like, I'm confused. Like, John, do you know what?
Yeah,
with Dooku?
No.
Like,
I think it's honestly, I think the way that like episode 3 goes about explaining it is that at the end of the day, Dooku was just a pawn for Anakin to become the next Sith. Like, I think it was just that.
But why does Dooku capture him? And like, why does Dooku talk to like Obi-Wan? Like, that's the reason I left the Jedi Order, is because I found out that there is a Sith Lord running it that is actually my master anyways. You know what I mean?
Well, it was like Dooku was really confused when like Palpatine said, do it, you know, do it in Revenge of the Sith. He was very confused.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that might almost be a plot hole.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. Like,
do we need to hit up Google on this or something? Hold up. Like, why, like, what do I even search?
I don't know. I'm sure there's probably YouTube videos on this.
What is Dooku's plan?
Honestly, they probably explain it in there were so many questions from Attack of the Clones that they made a 10-season TV series about it.
Yeah,
there are so many questions.
Okay, wait, hold up. Maybe
I bet it's fleshed out in the TV show.
In the wait, what? Okay. Oh wait, okay. There's a full article. Star Wars Theory reveals Count Dooku's utopian plan in Attack of the Clones. One fan might have finally figured out the Count's true motivation in the prequel trilogy.
What the hell?
What? The theory states Count Dooku wanted to overthrow both the Republic and Palpatine in order to establish something far greater, an aristocratic utopia with him at the head and at his right hand of all people, Obi-Wan. What?
Huh?
In the final confrontation, in the final confrontation between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku at the start of Revenge of the Sith, the theory argues that Dooku's plan was to kill Anakin and then go straight for Palpatine. This would force Obi-Wan to see that Dooku had been telling the truth, pressuring him to leave the Jedi forever. It almost could have worked, but alas, it didn't. Bro, what? Like,
what? I don't know. I don't know about that.
But hey, I feel like that just shows that, like, it's like, what was the plan?
Yeah, it's like, see, a positive of the movie is that Count Dooku is a badass Sith Lord, but like, I like, and you see him, in the conference room, and like the Death Star, you see they've got like the plans.
Yeah,
he has the plans. And the ending fight, I think, is kind of cool, and it shows how powerful Dooku is. He basically defeats Yoda. Yeah, he literally defeats everyone, and then it's just like, he's actually a bitch.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know. And you can't really tell what his true motivation is. It's just up for debate.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
And I also kind of nearing now. We're kind of getting close to the end. Also, I want to say, like, Jango Fett, I feel like he was done dirty.
Yeah, dude, Mace Windu just chops his head off just like that after Obi-Wan has so much trouble against Jango Fett. Obi-Wan has one of the coolest scenes in the film is the fight between Jango and Obi-Wan on Kamino.
Even the asteroid belt scene, like when they're going through the asteroids and he's like shooting those things at him to get him away. Like,
the sound effects. The sound effects are so good.
One thing I liked about that asteroid belt chase was like when he shoots those proximity mines and like they blow up and the sound comes like just like a second after it blows up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
makes it feel that much more realistic.
Yeah,
the audio and the visuals were so good.
Yeah,
it was so good, but everything else was so stinky.
And like getting into like the finale of the film, I'm also like curious. Okay, so they have Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme all tied up to these pillars, and my like thought was like, what was their plan here? Like what, like was the plan for them to just sit there and get eaten, or was there supposed to be a show? Like because like at one point one of the people was like, wait, Padme is not supposed to be doing that. Like, shoot her. She's not supposed to. I'm like, then what did
shoot her? Yeah.
Well,
there's too many Jedi down there. What, like?
Yeah, it's like,
what the hell did they expect?
What?
It's like you clearly had to.
I think it was that they wanted a war to start. I don't know.
And then
everyone.
And how did they not get shot, by the way? The fact that they have like 10 people with lightsabers and like millions of bullets flying at them, they could just deflect them all. It's just crazy to me.
And then the other kind of like,
I remember it being a pretty badass fight when I saw it as a kid.
Yeah, it's a badass fight.
It's good. It's not as good.
It's just kind of whatever. It just kind of blasé.
Yeah. Like, and it's too short. I remember it being longer as a kid. I don't know why, but I remember that whole scene being a lot longer. I don't know why.
And like kind of like another plot hole, at least I feel like, is the timeline of this all. Like, so John, like they're like Padme and Anakin, they're like, let's go to Geonosis because we'll get there a lot faster, than everyone else. But like everyone else shows up pretty much fucking right after them anyways. Like, and on top of that, Yoda literally had enough time to go to Kamino, grab the entire clone army and bring them.
Yeah. It's just bad writing, I feel like, at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? And then also one more, we also like get one more cringe Anakin when they're flying on the ship trying to chase Count Dooku, and Padme falls off the ship, and he's like, land the ship right now. I need to get her right now. Land it. And Obi-Wan is like, just get to your senses, lad. You're acting like a fucking idiot. Like, and then he's like, fine. And then even they land in the fight to fight Dooku, and they're like, let's do this together. And Anakin just sprints at Dooku and just gets his
gets his hand cut off.
Yeah, it's just like
so stupid.
It's and then everyone gets their ass kicked, and it's just like
there's Yoda.
Yeah, and then there's this one funny scene where like they were trying to, you could tell George Lucas was trying to like fucking recreate Empire Strikes Back for a second, because like Anakin and Count Dooku, they like slash off the lights, and it's just like dark, and you just see their like lightsabers and their faces, but it's just so weird because it's just like the way the camera's set up, it's just like them, it's just their face, and you just see the lightsaber going back and forth across their face. And I'm like, and I remember Dana was watching it, and she's like, wow, look at the cinnamon topography. I was like, yeah, this is fucking terrible. And
there were some moments where the visuals I thought were really good, especially considering the time, but yeah, that was a little that wasn't as good.
John, I'm guessing you weren't happy about the Yoda battle. Did you want to talk about that?
I mean, it was just too short, I thought. I don't know, like the fact that Yoda is made out to be like the most powerful being essentially in the entire galaxy or galaxies, but he gets his ass kicked in every fight in the prequel trilogy, and in Phantom Menace he just looks like a puppet if you've seen the original version of the movie. But and that is actually something to be said. Yoda looked a hell of a lot better in this movie than he did in the original Phantom Menace.
And the visuals definitely are even better in episode 3 than this.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know, it was just like, it was cool to see him like catch the Force lightning and stuff and like kind of throw it back, but it was meh. It was just too short for me, and
it was underwhelming.
Yoda get his ass and seeing Yoda get his ass kicked all the time, it's just, I don't know. I wish he would have had a good lightsaber battle where he actually won in the prequel trilogy, but we didn't get that.
I didn't even think about it, that the two fights he has, he pretty much loses.
Yeah, both of them.
It's like, bro, what?
Come on, Yoda.
And
some of your Force abilities.
Dude definitely could have beat Palpatine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Palpatine, like
the old geezer.
I swear Yoda even had a moment like or two to just like chop his head off or something, but he didn't. I mean, Yoda's flipping around like crazy. How does he not?
Dude, Yoda's got to have like a lot more knowledge of the Force, considering he's a teacher for like every Jedi out there. You'd imagine that he'd be a little more powerful in these fights. He'd be one step ahead of some of these enemies.
Yeah,
I guess it's just supposed to suggest that Count Dooku is that strong, and that Chancellor Palpatine or Darth Sidious is that much stronger even. I don't know.
I just feel like
it seems like Jedi in the prequel trilogy are a lot more powerful than it's ever suggested ever again.
It's also like the power dynamic of it, I feel like just kind of changes completely based on like what the plot wants. Like, like, oh, like, Count Dooku can like literally whoop everyone's ass in this film, but then gets his ass beat at the beginning of episode 3. So then you're like, okay, well, Anakin must be at this fucking level, like crazy ass level. But then Anakin, I mean, it's a crazy battle to get there, but yeah, like Anakin then loses to Obi-Wan.
His ass beat. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I don't know, like, I feel like a lot of characters are just done dirty in this film and are just not given the justice that they should.
Poor Django.
Yeah, poor
and
Django.
Poor Count Dooku. Honestly, he
Count
doesn't
Dooku
have a motivation.
Yeah, Count Dooku, you just don't know what his fucking plan is. Like, what is his goal?
Like, he's a badass, and he has a cool lightsaber. Like, that handle is so cool. But
yeah, but I don't know. I feel like we could probably get into our final like thoughts from here.
Yeah.
So okay, final thoughts. This is definitely one of the worst Star Wars movies. I think it's probably in contention with two others. Those two others being episode 1 and probably episode 9.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah. But like I said, I think this movie has lower lows than episode 1. Episode 1 has higher highs. But I think this film was more generally watchable than episode 1. I think Obi-Wan's storyline is pretty enjoyable to watch. He has some good moments with Jango Fett and stuff. I thought like there's some fun, quote unquote fun action scenes, like when they're in the factory. I thought that was kind of pretty cool actually. But from going from Duel of the Fates to whatever the fuck the final battle was for this was a very strange downgrade, especially considering it ups the notch again for the finale with episode 3. Like really weird why episode 2 had such a kind of shitty final battle. But I thought, to counteract that, I thought the opening was really, really good. One of the better Star Wars openings, I would say, actually. But yeah, it's just kind of a mixed bag. And kind of the cherry on top is this movie has just the most meme-worthy scenes with Anakin being a bitch. He's just a bitch. Like, I'm sorry. He's just whiny. He complains. Like, there's nothing likable about him. He's a creep towards Padme. There's no chemistry between them, and that's the heart of the film, which is not great. So I don't know. It's like I'm struggling to, because I feel like it was just generally more watchable than Phantom Menace, but I don't know. At the end of the day, yeah, I think that I think probably its main things it's striving for, it completely falls flat on. And I think, yeah, I probably would say actually at the end of the day, it is worse than Phantom Menace. Because there's just things in this film that when we just broke it down like this, there's things that just don't make sense and aren't that, further explained. At least Phantom Menace, there isn't anything like that really. So yeah, maybe I think I am going to give this a worse score than Phantom Menace. I was actually about to give it the same score. For reference, I give Phantom Menace a 5. I'm gonna probably give this. Like a 4.5. I think this probably is the worst Star Wars film now that I've looking at these two back to back. But luckily, there's a very large quality jump with the next one. But for me, 4.5 for Attack the Clones. Also, should not have been called Attack the Clones. That's my other thing. I forgot to mention that. Dude, why? This shit.
Yeah, there's only one clone battle. There's one clone battle in the whole movie.
And that's not even what the movie is about. So
yeah.
What about Parker? What about you? What are your final thoughts and general pros and cons?
I hated this fucking movie, man. I hate everything about it. The plot line is just so muddy. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a real plot that actually accomplished what they were going after. There's too many plot holes where the movie contradicts itself. The dialogue is god fucking awful. It's either the writing or the acting, but I really think it's the writing and George Lucas overall taking care of that. This movie does have bright spots. I mean, you'd expect that for such a high budget film. There's got to be one bright spot or two. But I mean,
just one, please.
It's just, I can't find myself to be excited about this movie in any way. It really does kind of sets a timetable and does build a universe around for the next episode. That's really all good you can say about it. And maybe the clone battle at the end. I'm gonna have to give, like, it's just so bad. This is the worst Star Wars movie ever, in my opinion. Phantom Menace was at least watchable. It didn't make me cringe on every step. I'm giving Attack of the Clones a 4 out of 10. That's a failing grade. It just doesn't accomplish what it's trying to do at all. I don't want to watch this ever again. It's terrible. But what about you, John?
Yeah, I'll go into my final thoughts. So it was, I mean, there were a lot of really great moments, I think, actually. And it's an okay Star Wars movie. If you can ignore all of the acting, all of it.
If it's okay, then what's a bad Star Wars movie?
No. Let me finish. It's purely okay based on my nostalgic love for it and memories of seeing it in theaters, being my first Star Wars film that I had seen in theaters. I have some love for it for that. And based on like the world building and stuff, I really like it. Just for that, and the settings are great. I think there's a lot of really cool like planets and stuff in this one, but besides that, it's a terrible movie. The story's terrible. It's not well done, and the acting is very bad. I do think at the end of the day that it, after talking about it and stuff, it's probably just poor direction and obviously poor writing. Like, there's no question about that. It's poor writing. The name of the film doesn't even make fucking sense. Like, so that's just, I mean, come on. The name doesn't even fit.
Literally everything about Attack of the Clones is ass backwards. Just ass backwards.
I mean, the only reason this is probably not like a 4 or even lower is like, because I think there are some redeeming moments.
Saying it was okay was off base. It's not even okay. This movie is bad. And I don't want to like perpetuate the Hayden Christensen hate. But like,
I don't think it's his fault for the most. Yeah, but I don't think it's totally his fault. I think I
agree.
Kind of on the direction.
I agree, but it's a stinky film. I don't even think Natalie Portman does a good job, but again, I really do think it's just very, very poor direction. I don't know what was going on with George Lucas at this time of his life. Maybe it was a midlife crisis and he just put it all into a movie. I don't know. I don't get it.
What did the actors have to work with? Like, what did they legitimately have there to actually...
Yeah, I feel bad for the actors.
Like, Ewan and Christopher Lee are so good. They're great actors.
These are some of the best actors in the industry. Like, these are the top dogs, and they can't even do these lines without feeling uncomfortable, it looks like.
Like, I feel like they're the stars of the show, but even their motivations are not fleshed out. Like, Obi-Wan is the only character that kind of makes sense in the entire movie. Like, the whole film, it's just lifeless to me. The dialogue was the worst in any Star Wars film. And it's sad because I think it did a lot of good stuff visually for the time, and it did a lot of good world building. But with all of that being said, my final rating for Attack of the Clones is a fat, strong 4 out of 10. 4. Bad. My lowest rating on the ControllerCast.
Stinky.
I think that's across the board makes this the lowest scored. Here, let me just add a 4.5. Divided by 3. The score for Attack of the Clones is 4.2 out of 10.
Yes.
Which, just for reference, some contenders for lowest score. Godzilla vs. Kong was our second lowest, and that was a 5. And then I think Phantom Menace might have been next. We had a few 6, like in the 6 range, but yeah, Phantom Menace was 6. So just for reference, I gave Phantom Menace a 5. John gave Phantom Menace a 7.5.
Yes. Listen to the episode again. I gave reasons. I like Phantom Menace.
Okay. So pretty big fall down between Phantom Menace and Attack, in your opinion, you'd say?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'd say so as well. I thought the Phantom Menace was at least watchable. Like,
I don't even think Phantom Menace is the second worst. I don't think so 9.
Either. Yeah, I think the new trilogy has to be worse than the whole entire new trilogy is worse than the Phantom Menace, in my opinion.
I would not say that, but I could see where you're coming from. But yeah, John gave it 7.5. Andrew gave it a 6. Obviously, Andrew's not here. Parker gave it a 5.5. So yeah, wow. Attack of the Clones, 4.2, guys. How do you guys feel about
Pretty
that?
Bad.
I feel like it's accurate. I feel like
it's actually accurate.
When you fail at what you're trying to do in every fashion, that deserves a 4. Like, it's literally a failing grade, and that's what it deserves.
The only reason it gets even a 4 probably is because it's Star Wars and it has some world building and it's interesting in that regard.
It's like the one 4.5 movie that I will never forget. Like,
I agree.
It's like
maybe the Room, if we ever the
only one I'll rewatch.
Yeah. The only
I would rate the Room. I would rate the Room higher than this.
Yeah, I think I would too.
No way.
I really would.
I would too, actually.
Maybe not. I don't know. Well, I enjoy watching it more though.
The Room is a pain to get through, but anyways, I'm sure we'll have an episode over the Room one day.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's it for the Controller Cast. So I mean, is it fair to are we all saying also that this is our least favorite Star Wars film?
Yes, by far.
Okay, I think so too. My opinion could change. We never know, but because I mean, there really is only one other one that I think could be in contention for that, but that's like at the tail end of all of this. That's it. 4.2 out of 10. The certified lowest Controller Cast rating yet. And I hope you guys enjoyed us kind of roasting this. But hey, hopefully we balanced it out with the positivity of the Nintendo Direct. That's about it. We'll be back next week for who knows? We'll let you guys know. Might be Casino Royale. I feel like it could be that with
get into the Bond stuff.
Yeah, with No Time to Die coming up. So anyways, thank you guys for listening. I hope you all enjoyed. Follow us on socials, share with your friends if you enjoyed it, and if you didn't enjoy it, let us know as well. So that is us signing out. Or at least that's Ursula signing out. If you guys want to say anything,
I just want to close out on one final message. I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and it gets everywhere. John, did you want to close out with anything?
Thank you guys for listening. I just want to say really quick, I feel like all of our scores are actually pretty fair for our ratings.
Yeah.
And I think, this was a really fun one to review because of how bad it was. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening.
Yeah.
But this is John signing out as well.
Yeah. See you guys. Thank you. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day.